Welcome to JMW's Inside Man YouTube channel. My guest is David Smith. David is a partner at JMW Solicitors and specialises in data protection law. So, David, there's a change to the UK-US data arrangements. What's happened?
Well, it's got a bit of history to it in that it's always been a bit of a challenge to shift data from the EU and the UK to the US because of the GDPR. And the summary of the problem has been that in America, American law enforcement authorities have a pretty unfettered ability, frankly, to access people's data, and there's not a huge amount you can do about it. And this has always been a bit of a problem for the GDPR. There have been two now attempts historically to create a data sharing arrangement with the United States, and they've both collapsed off the back of various challenges in the courts. So this is third time lucky, as it were, and we've got what's called the Data Protection Framework, or DPF for short. And this is actually a deal between the EU and the US, but what has happened is the UK has sort of jumped on board with this deal and has essentially cut the same deal with the Americans as the EU has. And it kicks in fairly soon now, I think on the 12th of October or thereabouts. So it comes into force quite quickly. Now, it is a bit limited. This is an important point. It's probably not suitable for sharing sensitive data, so health data, data about gender, sexuality, that kind of thing. But it's suitable for sharing most general data. And provided the organization in America you want to share to is one, signed up to the DPF, and two, they must also have accepted the UK extension to the DPF, then you'll be able to share data to them relatively freely without all the hoopla of carrying out a risk assessment or and entering into an agreement with them using the approved templates. So it will make things a lot easier, I suspect, for the vast majority of UK businesses who are using cloud services and services in the US generally.
And what does it, in real terms, mean then for businesses based in the UK?
Well, I suspect for some of them it won't mean anything because they were probably sharing data to the US unlawfully anyway. And they might still be if they don't bother to check the DPF status. I suspect for many of them it won't matter because the American companies will do it for them in effect. And you know, common big sharing entities that, for example, do things like CRM systems or HR systems or mail shotting. These were all areas where there was frequently unlawfulness already. Many of those big entities will sign up to the DPF and therefore will fix people's problems for them behind the scenes. But for those people who are a bit more alert, it will make data sharing to the US much simpler, which does cover a pretty wide range of services that people access on a day-to-day basis. Most people don't appreciate how much of their data is in America. Moving forward from there, this kind of framework probably also helps to create a model for other jurisdictions. And it's quite likely that the EU not so much, but I could see the UK trying to use this as a model elsewhere, assuming it survives.
And more generally, David, how can you and the data protection law team here at JMW help businesses?
Sure, we can advise people on transfer of data abroad, and we do a lot. And also, of course, on what the DPF is going to mean for their needs on a day-to-day basis.
David, thank you for your insight. And if you'd like to contact David and the data protection team here at JMW Solicitors, you can email insideman@jmw.co.uk or call 0161 82 81 999. Please also subscribe to the JMW Inside Man YouTube channel for the latest legal news, hints and tips. I'm Dominic Walker, JMW's Inside Man.